Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's service of remembrance at Algonquin College's Pembroke campus. My name is Jamie Bramberger. I'm the interim dean here at the campus. If you have an electronic device, and I suspect many of you do, I just ask that you put it on silence for the duration of the service, and also remove any headgear unless you are in the military. I'm joined today to my left by Warrant Officer Tony Neves, also Lieutenant Leibel. Thank you for being here, gentlemen. As well as Matthew Dussault, who is a social service worker program student, also a veteran of the military, and Jody Buchholz, the acting manager of community and student affairs. During the Great Wars and during times of peace, many Indigenous soldiers enlisted to serve our country. Last week, National Indigenous Veterans Day was marked on November 8th, honoring the Indigenous veterans who have served in missions across Canada and around the world in times of war, conflict, and peace. At Garrison Petawawa, the base held its first Indigenous Veterans Remembrance Day service this past Friday in partnership with the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan. Today, on this solemn occasion, we acknowledge that our service of remembrance is taking place on the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin peoples, traditionally known as the Anishinaabe. Many Algonquins served and continue to serve in the Canadian Armed Forces. The Algonquin peoples have inhabited and cared for these lands long before today. So on this service day, we take this time to show our gratitude and respect to the Algonquins and to the land for all that it provides us. Trees to give shade, water and food to sustain us, and paths to connect us. As a post-secondary institution, we feel the weight of the responsibility to help ensure that the next generations of land stewards are respectful and grateful for the bounty of this land on which we all live, work, play, and study. And so we will commit to learning how to be better stewards of this land in service to all the people and animals who walk on it and who grace the skies and waters. We will commit to engaging with and learning about the history and culture of the Algonquin peoples, including their contribution to the Canadian Armed Forces. We will foster reconciliation between the college community and the Algonquin peoples as we forge new paths ahead together for the mutual benefit of all those who walk on them. Would you please stand and join in the playing and singing of our national anthem, O Canada. Algonquin College has a deep respect for the armed forces and the men and women who wear the uniform of Canada's military. On this Remembrance Day, we take this opportunity to acknowledge the many personal sacrifices soldiers and their family members have made throughout their military service. And we thank them for everything they have done for our country. If you're currently a serving member of the military or a military veteran, could you please stand so we can acknowledge your commitment to your country? Thank you. Please be seated. The eternal flame burns at cenotaphs across the country. Today, Garrison Petawawa, Lieutenant Leibel, as well as his colleague, Warrant Officer Neves, will now join us to light a candle that will rekindle our memories of those who have fallen and to bring their spirit among us. It is a symbol of the steadfast courage of our soldiers and of our enduring support for them. Today we remember those military men and women, past and present, who put their own lives in peril to defend our nation and to bring peace and stability to countries in conflict around the world. Gentlemen. Thank you both. Matthew Dussault is a student in the social service worker program at the Pembroke campus. He spent 10 years with the 2nd Regiment of the Royal Canadian Horse Artillery. I now invite Matthew to lead us into a special video tribute to those who made the eternal sacrifice for our country. Matthew.
During the First World War, Canadian soldier John McCrae, while huddled in a bunker in France, wrote one of the most memorable poems ever written. In Flanders Field has been a living memoriam to the thousands of Canadians who were killed on the battlefield during the First and Second World Wars. Its powerful message continues to resonate with meaning for us today. We would like to share this poem with you now through a musical video presentation. Thank you.
Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep. Though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
As we continue our service of remembrance, we will now lay 4 wreaths in remembrance of those who perished in battle. The first wreath will be laid by 2 of our campus employees, both of whom are military spouses. Sarah Lennon and Rhonda Beaulieu are placing their wreath on behalf of college employees who have family members who are currently serving in the military. The second wreath will be laid by Lieutenant Leibel and Warrant Officer Neves, both of whom are serving at Garrison Petawawa. They are placing their wreath on behalf of soldiers lost during World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and the Afghanistan conflict. The third wreath will be placed on behalf of our students. Students Association Office Manager Connor Benson is joined by Bart Sarzinski, a military veteran and current outdoor adventure student. This wreath was laid to honor all of the students at our campus who have military connections, especially those who have lost family members in the line of duty. And the fourth wreath will be placed by a number of our staff: Angela Rintoul, Academic Chair; Carrie Lynn Weeks, Nursing Program Coordinator; Shandy Labine, a lab technician; and Paul McGuire, a member of our faculty. They are laying this wreath on behalf of all college employees as we pay our respects to Canadian soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice.
World War I became known as the Great War. From 1914 to 1918, over 650,000 Canadian men and women served. 66,000 were killed, 172,000 were wounded. So many casualties when Canada had a very small population. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, November 11th, 1918, a ceasefire was declared, ending the First World War. November 11th became known as Armistice Day, a day to remember those who were killed during the Great War. The Second World War took place from 1939 to 1945. In that 6-year period, more than 1 million Canadians served in the military. More than 45,000 gave their lives. Another 55,000 were wounded. During the Second World War, Canada's population was only 11 million people. The Korean War took place between 1950 and 1953. 26,000 Canadians served, 516 were killed. In recent years, during Canada's military efforts in Afghanistan, our forces suffered 158 deaths. Many of the soldiers who were killed and injured served at Garrison Petawawa.
We think of all the fallen soldiers who have led as we lead into the last post in a moment of silence. Please stand and turn to your bulletin, the bottom of the front of your bulletin. Remain standing following this reading for the playing of the last post. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
God save the King. God save our gracious King. Long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King. Please be seated. As we close out our Remembrance Day service, I invite our students and employees to thank the members of the military who have joined us here today for their service to our country. I also want to thank those two members who are in uniform here today for coming to us from Garrison Petawawa, and our Piper, retired Master Ward Officer Ken Whitehall, for being part of our ceremony as well. It was very, very meaningful to have you all here today, so thank you very much. On November 11th, this campus, this country, will always pause to remember. Thank you for being here today. This closes our service of remembrance.